Welcome to Fantasy Star, Fantasy Star, Fantasy Star, Welcome to Fantasy Star.
So, I must admit this is gonna be a bit of a grinding heavy episode. The next location that we have to visit is a significant step up on the line graph of difficulty, if that's what we want to call it. And we are simply not in shape. So it's gonna be almost all battles this whole episode.
Oops, all battles.
So, once our party's done a thorough amount of grinding on all these woodland creatures, that came out weirdly. Anyway, once we're leveled up enough, the goal of what we're trying to do is we have to find a man in the deepest regions of the dungeon to the north, and he's gonna sell us a pie. That's not just some dumb, unfunny joke, that's actually what's gonna happen. The tone of this game is very inconsistent. Kinda reminds me of, if you guys are familiar with Adult Swim's Mama Named Me Sheriff. There was an episode where Sheriff was regaling to his fellow officers about how ever since he was a little kid he would go out in the woods and there was a man who would sell me ice cream, and obviously they're very worried about this, but there's a twist, you see. There actually was a man who would sell him ice cream, and he was made out of ice cream as well, and then on top of that it just ended up being the sheriff's dad in a costume. Imagine that. It's a heck of a scene. I'm not really a man made out of ice cream. I'm just a man. Also, I'm your father. So anyway, I was just reminded of that because, we have to go into the disgusting spidery cave just so a man can sell us a pie, the quality of which is unstated. There's just something about video games from the 80s that seem to have this sort of obsession with fully cooked food found in dirty locations. I mean, there was this game, and then there was also that famous fully cooked chicken in the wall in Castlevania. For those of you who are Game Grumps fans, remember JonTron freaked out over the wall meat.
Yeah, oh, Jesus, it's gonna be wall meat? It's wall meat! Okay, sorry.
And then a year or so later, Dan tried to make the same joke, and then he stopped himself because then he remembered that, oh yeah, that's John's thing. Can't say that. I mean, he didn't say all of that out loud, but subconsciously you could kind of see the gears turning there. But any hoodles, getting back to the topic of the Master System, not many people out there know that there was an add-on for the Japanese version of the Master System. It was called the FM synthesizer, and some games supported it and other games didn't. And what the add-on would do basically is it would change the MIDI instruments that the game was using. So like normal Master System games just use the PSG, the built-in instruments, and then the FM sound supporting games, they would sound a bit more advanced. Here, let me play you a sample of what the soundtrack in this would sound like if it had the FM synthesizer.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know.
Now, but in all seriousness, though, so if this one did support the FM synthesizer, the instruments would sound more like the Sega Genesis instruments. There are comparison videos out there made by people who aren't total clowns like me, where they'll take samples of music from one game and they'll have it on the PSG instruments and then again with the FM synthesizer instruments, and the FM synthesizer instruments definitely have a bit of a Sega Genesis influence to them. Well, I guess perhaps influence isn't the right word to use there, since the Sega Genesis wasn't around yet. For those of you wondering, this is not one of the games that supports the FM synthesizer. Since this is being played on a Mega SG, if you want to enable the FM synthesizer sound, there's just a button on a menu you can press, but again, this game was never coded to do that, so we have no such possibilities. Okay, so we're gonna leave that dungeon for now. I had a key, but not the right key, evidently. You can just call me Wrong Key Kong. Although I don't think the right key is too far off. What did it say that enemy's name was? A man-eater? Like that song by Hall & Oates? Remember that episode of It's Always... Whoa, look at that thing. Look at that one. Ew. Anyway, what was I saying? Remember that episode of It's Always Sunny where Charlie thought that Hall & Oates was just one guy named Holland Oates, and they had to explain it to him, and Charlie, Hall & Oates is two people, Daryl Hall and John Oates. I don't think anybody under the age of 30 is really gonna appreciate this joke, but that's okay. Since you're watching a Let's Play of Phantasy Star for the Master System, it's pretty safe to assume that you're either a 40-year-old man or you've got an appreciation for items of the past. Okay, so once again we have to use the flash to light our way. Did I make an Ezra Miller joke the last time we did this? What the heck is going on with that guy? More importantly, why do they still insist on releasing that movie after all that stuff that he's done? Somehow they think that The Flash, the movie, is gonna justify all of those horrible things done by Ezra Miller. Just ignore the kidnappings and enjoy this cool superhero movie, moviegoers. Warner Bros. Is at an all-time low. So, we've got, I think, our third variant on the eyeball enemies now. We had the blue ones, and then the owl bears from earlier, or also known as the red ones. And now we've got the gold lens. Not to be confused with Gold Eye Software. And this dungeon is a step up not only in enemy difficulty, but also in complexity. We've got segmented rooms and doors within this dungeon. You never know what doors might lead you to, and for more information on the potential danger of doors, I'm gonna let my good friend Brad Neely take over.
Dear Diary, today had two surprises in it. The first was kinda cool, and the second was doo-doo freaking everywhere. And I didn't even see a dog. It didn't even look like a dog's duke. More like the waist of someone special, maybe. Doors. You never know what's behind them.
So let's take a moment to heal in the middle of this slog we got going here. We seem to be getting diminishing returns on the amount of health that we get back from the cola. It seems that it's a predetermined amount rather than a percentage. Ooh, look at that thing. A wraith. Kinda looks reminiscent of something you'd see in Shining the Holy Ark for the Saturn. But yes, I want to be careful with my health management and my quest to find the man with the pie, because that's the whole reason we came here. Remember that from earlier in the episode when I mentioned the man with the pie? Once again, I wasn't making that up. That's gonna be a real thing. Just you wait. It's coming. The pie is coming.